Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, gits and grats to Red-Rupee cast. This is Dawn of War 2, the Elite mod. We're hanging out on Green Tooth Gorge with our players. On the red side, we've got Rostam as the sneaky commando knob, and his opponent on the blue side, StonedElf, as the Lord Commissar. And I'm not actually too familiar with this matchup. Both very kind of squishy infantry-based things, at least until later game when the orcs get those big nasty knobs and that sort of thing together. Maybe even those tier 2 sluggers are pretty hardy. But we'll see how it goes. Pretty hard to approach these very shooty Imperial Guard once they get up some setup teams, and StonedElf is pretty notorious for booby-trapping the map with both Catachin improvised explosives and the Lord Commissar mine global, so we'll see how it goes. This is a map that's actually very easy to take advantage and exploit those mine drops, because you can drop them right here in this choke point, which is very commonly where units will be retreating. Sentinel went on the offensive right out of the gate, tried to prevent the Commando from getting the cap on his home victory point. He did at least do that. Commando's returning the favor, though, taking back that that exterior power there. And the rest of the Orc army actually going on the offensive here. It looks like trying to swing around on the power, which there is already a node up for StonedElf. Commissar's doing his best, but he's not going to be able to hold against all three of these squads, especially with them all logged up here. Those Slugger boys are going to be able to chop through this Commissar eventually. Stun Bomb trying to come down here from the Commando knob. He does run out of energy now. If he uses that bomb while stealth, you know, there's only has so much sneaky time left to be causing trouble on the back lines here. But as it stands, Orcs moving in on the generators. There is a Sentinel moving in to intercept, but against the two shooter squads, I don't know that that's going to be enough. Generator already popping down for the Orc along with a secondary node. This is the only node on the field for StonedElf, so he's going to be on the back foot if he can't hold this as far as the tech war. Big shooters get upgraded just as they hop inside that garrison. That's enough to rout StonedElf. He might just decide that he doesn't want to fight this. It looks like he's just going to go ahead, seed the power node for the time being, probably node up over here on the eastern side, and try to keep up in the tech race with that. Despite that first loss, he does have the Catachins coming out here. Rostam opting for his next squad being some Ludas. Lord Commissar's coming over here trying to knock Orcs around. Not before they get the decap, however. Swinging that sword overhead. Commissar always one to lead the charge against whatever nasty enemies the Imperial Guard, the Imperium of Man, as it were, have to say. 500 to 436, and you know, StonedElf did lose the power, but that's about it so far. And it looks like Rostam might be going a more power-intensive build. Anyways, he's not doing kind of the fast Orc tech, so I don't think that's going to be too much a problem. You do need a bit more of a tier 1 against Imperial Guard than you sometimes can against other races. You can't just stick with the double sluggers and shooters to hold out against Imperial Guard, especially not when they've already invested in some Catachins as well. Second loot is coming out here, and so that's going to be two suppression teams to deal with. And you can see, taking the first opportunity, first thing StonedElf does, as soon as his Catachins find an opening, put a bomb in that retreat path. And I'm sure that will be the first of many that we see here. But StonedElf always very spot on with his Catachin usage, always making sure he can try to maybe find a tricky spot to lay down some mines and explosives. Catachin and Lord Commissar play. Definitely what StonedElf is known for. 361, and already about 150 victory points behind. Rostam with the triple cap against him already. StonedElf being pretty relentless. Apparently has a grudge after losing that power node. Not gonna have it. Says, fine, you know what, you can take the power. Look, he still hasn't even captured the power back, but he's gonna take the rest of the map if he can. You can see Rostam at this point only holding on to the 2 power and the 2 natural wreck at this point. Finally starting to get some victory points back, but surprising to go down to about 300 VPs in the first 4 minutes of the game. That's a pretty quick loss of advantage. Certainly not decisive by any stretch, but StonedElf sitting on a huge pile of requisition here. 600. I guess if he would have managed to get that power node back a little earlier, I'm sure he would have dropped gens down there. Obviously, he didn't want to drop them over here, which is, I mean, I understand that. but I could see how he'd want to try to be catching up over here. Do catechins actually melee power down faster, or was he just looking for the range damage resist? I'm not sure what the plan was there. They do power melee. And look, see, yet another, both of these retreat paths now mined from the catechins. Luda boys leapfrogging up past one another, trying to get on the field. Shoot-a-boy Knob coming down as well. That's something that you do have to keep into consideration. Once you do know that those catechins are around on the map, dropping mines around, you're going to want to get yourself some detection as soon as possible. Catechins get routed by the commando. And now Sluggers getting in on this Lord Commissar, deciding to pull back once they got out of the arc of covering fire from those Luda boys. And where is the second shooter squad? We got one here. Oh, these guys are back over here. They're fully upgraded. Capping wreck on the back line. And now the Sentinel facing off against the Commandos and the Shooter Boys. Shooter Boys getting upgraded with big shooters, so fully upgraded shooters all around, along with 2 Ludas and anything on the Commando, nothing on the Commando or Sluggers. But still, that's quite a bit of power investment from Orc Tier 1. Oftentimes you kind of see them upgrade their big shooters, maybe get Flamers on their Sluggers, and then call it a day there. Sluggers in a lot of trouble. I'm not sure if he's paying attention over here. Is that going to be enough to get them out of there? He uses the global, but it's not going to be... Oh, I spoke too soon. 6 HP it escapes with. Unfortunately, he lost his commando in the meantime. Couldn't keep up with both of those engagements, it looked like. Split his micro a bit too much. Lost the hero. It's not going to be a huge setback. Both players sitting on a pretty reasonable pile of resources. Rostam heading into Tier 2 almost at the exact same moment that Rostam does, so the tech war is neck and neck. It could not be closer. The only advantage for StonedElf right now is that he does have a huge pool of requisitions, so he's got a lot less to recover from if an engagement goes poorly. VPs are about evened out though, with a 2-0 cap that's swinging back around quite nicely for Rostam. 374 to 327, and potentially another full gen bash over here, because I don't see anything on the map over here ready to contest this Luda shooter combo.
We have an edge for now.
Catechins looking for something to get into with their grizzly voices. A whole squad of Rambos.
We're losing a requisition point.
So after a good job holding after that initial gen bash, Rostam was looking pretty good. More catechins going down. StonedElf did manage to get a good stall in and bought himself some time, but now losing the gens a second time, that'll probably pretty much negate his wreck advantage that he had so far. You can see the Shooter Boys have identified that. Yeah, they took out both bombs, so the only bomb that remains is that center one here. It's kind of something to keep in mind. Even with the catechins, let's see, that's not going to be enough yet. He doesn't decide to blow that thing quite yet. Shooter Boys coming in from the south. And the gen farm was completely destroyed over here. Noda is coming back down. Sentinel does get upgraded with rockets. And now Shooter Boys just suppressing these guardsmen infantry and forcing them off the map while they still can. Oh, look at this. He's trying to bait him into it. Does he get the kill? He gets the whole squad. What a play. Oh, they just didn't even see it coming. They were ready to take out that Commissar. Commissar knew exactly what he was doing. Had the place booby-trapped, and a nice victory there for StonedElf. A beautiful play with that catechin improvised explosive device.
Generator coming up.
Still a lot more power on the field right now for the Orcs than the Imperial Guard. StonedElf not able to get a vehicle onto the field quickly, but it looks like instead he's choosing to get a heavy weapon squad. I'd almost definitely guarantee to see that get upgraded into an autocannon against all this infantry and Ludas. There's a Weird Boy on the field as well for Rostam's first Tier 2 purchase.
Won't be long, sir.
Oh, and there goes the first mine drop coming down right here. Oh, man! Doesn't even give him a chance to go off. Look at that combination. This is what I'm talking about. Like, StonedElf knows all the tricks here. Those shooter boys going down to 25% HP in the blink of an eye. He dropped the mines, and instead of waiting for them to activate, he just went ahead and used an all reliable from the Catachin Devils, dropped the mines right on top of the squad, then immediately dropped grenades on to both do damage to the squad and the splash to the mines. Weird Boy is actually a good way to deal with those mines. He saw he just attacked ground a couple times and took out all the remaining mines, at least on his side of the victory point. There's still a few over here. So a couple really good tech choices and combos here from both players. Oh no, the autocannon kind of set up in a goofy angle. Commando Knob still vanilla, still looking for trouble, trying to do something with that stun bomb, but didn't quite land it. Of course, the Catachins can spot him. And despite all the vision that the orcs do potentially have, I was going to say, I was mentioning earlier how something to keep in mind when dropping those Catachin explosives is that the orcs do have pretty easy to come by detection. They have these shooter boy knobs that stay on the field. And usually if they're the ones doing the capping, they're going to be able to spot those mines and clear them out. The only one that we did see survive, though, still did some pretty huge damage. So StonedElf playing to the fact that he has very little power and a whole lot of requisition. His tier 2 purchases were this heavy weapons squad and the stormtrooper squad. And you hear the cadence of that autocannon just blasting away there. Luda's taking more and more hits. Weird Boy trying to get into position. We haven't really seen him do too much yet. He's kind of been the odd man out. No pun intended. From the rest of the orc army, he hasn't really gotten a concentrated push here. I guess the trick right now is that Rostam doesn't really have a kind of push forward typical orc army. You know, you're normally seeing sluggers, war boss, mech teleporting forward, trucks, stuff of that nature. Maybe even a Death Dread once in a while. Oh my gosh, the Weird Boy! Oh, 10 HP. He does survive. But instead, Rostam has a kind of very passive army right now. His only real fighting force, right, is the 2 shooter boys and the commando. Everything else is supporting or passive. You have the looters, which are setup teams. Stick bombs now coming up on the commando to give him some more options. And the Weird Boy can't really do much on his own against this kind of firepower. So commando does decide he has to get the heck out of there. Shooters do manage to blow up that bomb. It's a good thing, too, because the commando was low enough that it may well have cost him his life. Just in the nick of time, the shooter boys with that save. Rostam heading into tier 3. StonedElf able to do so as well if he wanted, but I'm not sure what he'd be saving up for if tier 3 isn't his plan at this point. Maybe just hasn't quite noticed his resources and hasn't hit the button to purchase that upgrade. 304 to 278, and now at this, it's funny, we saw both sets of victory points go down to 300 very quickly, like within the first 8 minutes of the game, and now suddenly we've been having a bunch of 1-1 caps with a neutral third victory point, and they've been ticking down very slowly. We've got a 2-1 now, finally, to cause a little difference here. Both of StonedElf guardsmen not hugely upgraded in this matchup. Commissar needs to get that shield up and running. Are the shooter boys gonna go down? He's charging in. Is he gonna get those last couple swings? One single hit point remains. Oh no! It doesn't matter how stealthy they are because the Sentinel's gonna spot him. A couple quick bursts from that auto cannon was all it took to finish it off. Shooter boys do not escape that time around, even with that Hide the Boys global. And Rostam not with a lot of red, actually. He's been using a lot of WOG, using a lot of ooh! What a shot from the Weird Boy. Zap goes down. I don't think it's going to be quite enough to finish him off. And Knob's coming onto the field for Rostam. I think that's a pretty good point. There's not a lot of suppression or anything like that. There's some solid knockback with the Catachin Devils, but so long as he keeps those under control, those knobs are going to be largely uncontested. Weird Boy doing a little too much friendly fire there, knocking over all those shooter boys. Although I still don't think this Commissar is going to be able to stick around. He has to be very careful. Needs to retreat before long. Still taking a lot of fire. Weird Boy even getting a couple pot shots in as well. A single HP remains. No attack round to try to finish off that shot. I'm not sure he would have had to range for it, but it could have been worth a shot trying to get that last pot shot in and finish off the Commissar. Of course, StonedElf has so much requisition. Look at this! 1,200 requisition. Why hasn't he gone tier 3? I don't know if he thinks he pushed the button and he didn't. But I can't imagine he's trying to save up for anything. He could have a tank well on the way at this point if he so wanted.
We have an edge for now.
But instead, somehow, StonedElf has managed to steal this Orc power node on his side of the map. It might have been a little too aggressive to go for tier 3. But here he is. He's in tier 3. He's got his knobs on the field. And power is just dropping everywhere for StonedElf. He's got so much requisition, he's just like, I know I got lots of power. I'm just going to buy more power. But he needs to do something here. This is the most float I've seen in a long time, and it's actually pretty atypical of StonedElf. He's normally very on top of his teching and purchases back home. Suppression goes down. Grenades don't quite hit on anything. No connection there. And is this squad... is he just not attacking power? StonedElf suddenly... is he AFK? I don't know. I'm not sure what's happening here, but it seems like he may have just lost track of what he was doing or something. I don't know. Everything up here was stationary. I don't know if he thought he clicked the power and then went elsewhere and then realized he wasn't doing any damage to it, or what the plan was. But anyways, everything's firing away at these knobs now. He's definitely issuing commands at this stage in the game. Big Shoot is coming out here, taking fire from the Sentinel, while the Lord Commissar is trying to maybe get a knob kill out of this. Grenade goes down, hits the knobs pretty spot on. These Assault Kit Stormtroopers continuing to do some good work. Sentinel in a lot of trouble. I hope it's got his stomp. I'm not sure it does. But still enough to rout the knobs for the time being. 141 to 304. And we have a commando call-in coming in for Rostam. And despite those knobs now being on the field for, what, 2 engagements now? They haven't really had the impact I expected. I kind of expected the knobs to come out and the orcs to just start rolling over things. Warp Vomit coming down, knocking back both Stormtroopers and Guardsmen. Unfortunately, Rostam lost that Sentinel just there to the Commando Squad. Autocannon still blasting away, and we have kind of the Imperial Guard line of fire right here that we're so used to seeing. We got Stormtroopers, Catechins, Guardsmen, and an autocannon all blasting away. That Commando Squad rocket launcher does some pretty solid damage to both buildings and vehicles. I've just played them again recently and forgot how effective they can be for anti-vehicles. Stormtrooper taking a big hit from that zap, not quite enough to finish them off. But let's see, what does he have? Oh, he has Aura of Discipline, okay. I was about to say, I was surprised to see the Stormtroopers not retreat, but the Aura of Discipline will heal up nearby troops for the Commissar. And again, knobs out here, not fully healed up, but not really engaging either, just kind of hanging out on the side as if they were sluggers. More Catechin explosives going down. Knobs coming in on the flank. There's a looted tank coming out here now as well, and there's not a lot in the way of anti-vehicle. The only thing he's got is some soft anti-vehicle in the ways of this autocannon. StonedElf now in tier 3, again floating away. He could get a Baneblade if he wanted to at this stage. But so far, it looks like he's just going to hang out and try to hold with what he's got.
We're losing a victory point out there.
Finally, a Layman Rust tank coming out here. It should have probably been on the field by now.
The advantage is
but instead it is just now getting purchased. And we have a moment of solitude for the orcs as they try to get this center victory point. Nope, I guess I spoke too soon, because here come another pile of mines for these knobs. Are they going to activate in time to prevent the cap? It looks like it won't. Oh, they activate, but not, like, literally the moment the victory point got captured.
Hearing the commando is finished.
Commando goes down thanks to a volley from the Catechins and Stormtroopers.
We have a target.
And the tank is going to be on the field shortly. It just bought something else as well. Oh no, Commando's just burning down an entire squad of Guardians. Oh, burn a bomb along with the triple Daka.
Right.
Classic combination from the old days. Can still take out squishy infantry if the opponent isn't paying attention. You gotta hit that retreat pretty much immediately as soon as you see that burn a bomb come down if you want to save that squad. A lone mine hanging out in the center. Orcs, the weird boy, just kind of guarding over, even attacking ground on that victory point just to make sure no one's trying to do anything sneaky. No stormtroopers coming in on the field. A second take now coming out for StonedElf.
I'm not going to say no.
And Bionic Eye and Power Sword. So fully upgraded Commissar at this point. Commando Knob is down, so Rostam down a hero for this upcoming engagement, which is probably going to be pretty tricky.
I have completed this upgrade.
Oh, and there it is. That's the first spotting of the Lehman Russ tank, so...
Hostile forces detected.
I wouldn't be surprised to see these looters get a beamy upgrade. That tank's going to have a pretty hard time oh no, the Commando Knob's back out here with his rocket launcher as well. So 1, 2, 3, 4... I mean, there's a lot of potential anti-vehicle on the field. So this is actually not particularly easy for this Lehman Russ tank to approach. Getting the Vanquisher cannon on the one tank, blasting away at this orc tank. Another shot from the Vanquisher should just about do it. It's not quite. The second goes down though, but look at all this anti-vehicle fire coming in. That might be the fastest I've seen a Lehman Russ tank go down. The loot is the weird boy and 2 rocket launchers from the Commando Knob and the Knob on the Commando squad. I guess technically 2 Commando Knobs. And the Catechins doing great work. Bionic Eye getting them in there with that speed, trying to do that damage to the knobs, forcing them off, actually killing all but I think a single model. No, 2 of them do manage to get out there. Warp Vomit comes down, however, and knocks over and stuns the majority of the Imperial Guard forces. 194 to 116. And the Commissar is not going to allow the Commando to get any more free hits. Oh, and the Commando goes down the second time, actually. If that Lehman Russ tank had gone down, it'd be a pretty dire situation for the Imperial Guard. As it stands now, still anyone's game. But he definitely has to be a lot more careful. At least he didn't lose the upgraded tank. This tank still has the Vanquisher cannon available for that extended range. And I think it's better for single target. It doesn't have the splash that the standard cannon has. But I believe it hits harder. It's kind of the opposite of the Executioner, which has more splash and a slightly shorter range. But against that much anti-vehicle, I think you want the longer range weapon anyways. And besides, it seems like it still blasts Commandos and Knobs pretty well. So again, a bit of quiet as everyone repositions. The Knobs are trying to flank, but they do get spotted by the Lehman Russ. Meaner and Greener gets activated, but that's a lot of Imperial Guard to be going in against on their own. This is what I was saying, is that the one weakness that Knobs do have is knockback, right? And the Catechins have not 1 but 2 knockback abilities, so just the Catechins on their own are a pretty strong check against the Knobs. It at least keeps them under control. Bionic Eye goes down again. He's got to be careful. The Zap's coming in here. Lots of damage coming in from those those Commandos on the Catechin. Zap now bounces over to the Guardsmen. Oh man, and it's just bouncing through all the different squads. That Zap did some pretty serious damage. Is it going to jump one more time? Not quite. And now both heroes down. The Commissar on the north side, the Commando over here on the south. Another Lehman Russ tank coming in for StonedElf. And not much is changing as far as map position and board control. Like it's actually proving quite difficult for the Imperial Guard to push in here, despite having this beefy tank.
You know we're ready.
The Commissar was kind of his pushing force, and now that he doesn't have that, it's been hard for him to break forward, I suppose. IED does go off, does some damage to the commandos, but doesn't quite finish it off. Actually took out the Nob, so the Nob's getting immediately purchased back. A nice small victory there.
We're ready here, sir. Go ahead.
They're gonna get the cap, but they're gonna have to get out of there. Oh, the reliable didn't quite hit. If you're shooting on lower ground, you actually have to leave the target a little bit for that. Any of those kind of artillery arced weapons, depending on the height of the terrain, you do have to play that a little differently. Nobs, I guess, recognizing that the Catachans weren't around to help this time, and trying to charge in against that autocannon. Meaning Raider gets activated, but it's still 2 tanks and an autocannon that they were charging against. That Vanquisher cannon still blasting away at Nobs. The Nob getting repurchased, but those guys need to get out of there. They are almost level 3. That is nothing to scoff at. 64 to 107. StonedElf still having a hard time pushing forward. I don't think those Nobs really accomplished too much, but it is buying more time, and there's not much more that needs to be bought. With his opponent under 100 VPs, another Luda got purchased. So he does have the suppression to keep the Commissar under control. Oh no! The Commissar survived just long enough to get the kill on that Beanie Death Gun. And I guess it's a good thing Rostam did get that second Luda, because now he's gonna need it.
We are ready to proceed, sir.
Yeah, we're seeing Beanie come down for the second Luda as well. I really think Rostam needs to get his hero back on the field. That sneaky commando with his rocket launchers definitely be a boon right here. Beanie Death Gun still doing some good work on its own, though. Catachans narrowly escaping death there. They do get the decap. The burner went down and prevented the full capture, and we're just sitting at 33 to 107 right now. Is the burner still active? It is not. Nope, it has expired. All right. Commandos level 3 and everything. Yeah, level 3 is about the lowest. Even the new tank is level 2. Heavy weapons team almost level 3.
We've captured the location.
We are ready to proceed, sir.
And this is the challenge right here. The Imperial Guard is just ready. Says, let the orcs come. We've got an autocannon. We've got a Vanquisher.
Ready to proceed, sir.
And we've got a vanilla Lehman Russ. Huh. And the orcs say, fine, go ahead, hold middle. We're not coming to middle. We're going to take these exterior points. StonedElf's not going to let him off so easily, though. He does have the stormtroopers on that eastern point, trying to make sure he keeps the pressure on. And 78 to 33 with a 2-0 cap. The orcs need to get into the center, or they need to control the 2 points on the outside. And yeah, this is what I wanted to see. The Nobs are charging in here. Let's see. The decap's coming down. Nobs need to activate Mean and Greener right away. The old reliable doesn't connect. The Nobs get in there. But it doesn't seem like we've got any anti-vehicle fire. And where are the Ludas? Did the second squad of Ludas get obliterated? Nobs are in the thick of it now, still taking lots of autocannon fire. I'm surprised they didn't engage these autocannons instead of the Catachan Devils. Both the Commando and the Commando Nob blasting away at Lehman Russ tanks. Look at the damage from those things. Oh my goodness. This would be a perfect time for Call to Boys. Nope. Rostam did have it. I think Call to Boys with those injured Nobs right there would have been pretty solid. Oh no, they actually still had 3 of 4 members, so I guess it would have been a bit risky. Call to Boys is instant though. It's not like with Space Marines where you kind of have to time that drop pod deployment. You can just wait till you see that squad go down to just an immediate single unit and hit F3.
As promised, the victory point is ours.
I think he could have held there potentially, but I guess he's playing it safe. 33 to 50.
Their advantage is meat.
Playing it safe could could come with dire consequences with this few victory points at this stage. Grenade coming in does force off the commandos. Still a cap here on the natural VP of StonedElf by the orcs over here. And coming full charge with the knobs out here. This time Rostam reinforced some units so he does not have the requisition required to do another call to boys. Commando Knob just kind of intimidating that tank all on his own. Stormtroopers aren't able to hold up. The triple Daka comes down again. Is it going to be enough? Not quite. Oh, an orc went flying into the air. Hit him so hard his physics broke. And the autocannon's now set up to cover the point. So the shoot-a squad over here is going to get the decap. They might not get the capture, but either way, these victory points are just hanging out. It's so low, and it could easily go either direction. Kasserkin's now over here. Knobs pushing forward once again. I feel like the one place these knobs shouldn't be is where this tank is. Yet he keeps charging the tanks with the knobs. I mean, they can certainly intimidate it, but I feel like the plan he had before with just the double commandos going after these guys was really all he needed. These knobs, I feel like, should be definitely ripping apart this heavy weapons team. Let's see, are they going to get it? They're probably not going to be able to connect with all three models, but maybe I spoke too soon, because down it goes. And that's one less squad for the Imperial Guard. At this stage, it's going to get hard for StonedElf to hold the victory points simply because of army size. He just doesn't have much on the field. You can see Rostam now with 2 commando squads. I mean, why get tank busters, I guess, when these commandos do so very much damage? Commissar goes down, I think, for a 3rd time recently, and StonedElf's requisition pool finally getting depleted after so much time. 26 to 25. Not much time left in this game. One way or another, the decap does come down, neutralizing the victory point loss for the orcs. Where is the Imperial Guard force? There's not even a lot out here. There's 2 squads of Kasserkins and a Layman Russ tank. There's some big beefy knobs out here, though. They're not going to go down easily, along with some level 4 commandos, fully stealth, so they're, even if they only get the decap, the time is very short. He needs to start capping pretty much right now if he wants to stay in this. Unfortunately, the Weird Boy's over here to provide some knockback support, preventing the decap. A 2-0 cap goes down. Commandos drop the triple Daka, and StonedElf still in good spirits as the last few victory points tick away. It looks like Rostam's going to take the game. That Weird Boy's such a great controlling factor when it comes to stopping those last few critical captures. I'm not sure that Layman Russ tank was long for this world anyways. Let's see. It did have 253. I hope the commandos don't quite do that much. But, oh wait, was the knob there as well? Oh, so it was the commando knob actually. Even so, 253 is a lot for a single shot. I know the commando knobs, the hero rocket launcher is very powerful, but I forgot how crazy powerful the rocket launcher on the commandos themselves are. Almost makes tank busters obsolete. Curious. Anyways, what a match. That definitely went long. It could possibly have gone long because StonedElf floated for so long there. I don't know what was going on in his head, but considering the victory points were so very close, if that Layman Russ had come out a minute sooner, it certainly could have made the difference. But anyways, a lot of carnage there. StonedElf just down to Kasserkins at the end, pretty much lost all of his squads throughout the various endgame engagements. But even, I mean, look at all the dead knobs on the field here. Dead commando knobs, dead normal knobs, rocket launchers, hammers, it doesn't matter. All the orcs are dead. Saw some good mine usage, great Catechin usage, some good plays with the Commissar, but ultimately wasn't quite enough to overcome the Orc Wog here today. But that wraps it up for me. Hope you enjoyed the game. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, follow all those social media links, whichever ones you like best. They're down there in the description, of course. This has been Red-Rupee. I'll catch you guys next time.